Hello and welcome. So people are joining, but we cannot wait for a long time. I'll just revisit some of the things. Let me see if we can quickly give a recap. So, on here, yeah. Okay. So previous class we discussed about some stories, not three, but more actually. I've changed the title, but title page has not been changed. So we talked about Dhirubhai Ambani, and the major part of Dhirubhai Ambani is that he hailed from a very poor family. So he proved that you don't need a lot of money to start a business. You must have a determination, passion, and a vision. He had a vision that he will come back to India and start a refinery back in India, even though he did not have a lot of money. More importantly, yeah, more importantly, he was a knowledge seeker. He used to seek knowledge from all the fields, knowing that knowledge will be necessary at some point or the other. He was highly intelligent and other things. These are definitely part of the required qualities. More importantly, he was a strong-willed person. Means if he wanted to do something, he would see that it is done, and a high zest for life. Now, he started his career as a petrol pump operator. From there, because he had an eye for his his vision, so he was trying to have a mission to learn everything, acquire the knowledge and the network, and earn a lot of money and eventually reach to the vision in the long term. So there is nothing in the business that he did not try to learn. Whether he became a master or not is a different question. He learned export, import, commodity trading, marketing, distribution, currency trading, and what not, banking, insurance. And he used to give free services to Gujarati community to know their accounting system, because they have a unique accounting system with minimum information. They make a kind of a holistic assessment of how the company is doing. At the end of the day, they will gather some 1, 2, 3, 4 information, and they will know where we are, whether we are actually moving to a positive direction or are we actually going down. So one of the very important story that is to be taken from the story of Dhirubhai Ambani is that during the 60s, India was passing through economic slowdown. Not just that, there was hardly any foreign exchange to import our essentials like pharmaceuticals, then some key pharmaceutical machineries, and then many other things. So we did not have enough dollars to buy them. So government of India announced that only those people will be allowed to import non-essential items who can bring in dollars. That means if you have export income, then only you can import. So majority of the people, majority of the businessmen who were importing textile, particularly synthetic textile, they ran out of business because they did not have any source of dollar. That was a adverse situation. People were shutting down their businesses, and they were actually running away from the market. At that time, Dhirubhai came up with a novel idea. He was exporting cotton at a loss, and using that dollar, he was buying synthetic textiles and selling that just like a monopolist and making huge profit. So that is an example of identifying opportunities in adversities. Read more about here, just a revision, so I won't tell too much about it. Karshanbhai Patel is a wonderful story, and we started knowing about him from the day he gained initial preeminence. So he was just a laboratory assistant in a chemical company or maybe pharmaceutical company. So in the laboratory, he was toying with different ideas. He came up with a formula that would help him to manufacture low-cost detergent. All of us would be thinking that detergent manufacturing requires a huge infrastructure, whereas the fact is that you can manufacture detergent even in a kadai in your kitchen. Yeah, someone please mute your mic. Whosoever is mic is open, just mute your mic. Please don't expect me to remind this. If I can identify anybody using their mic and creating noise, I am simply going to deregister them, and then you keep on fighting whatever you would like to fight. Please, please, please unmute your mic only when you have a question. Otherwise, don't unmute. I cannot unmute everybody. I do have the power, but then if somebody wants to ask a question, he or she should be allowed. But if you are creating noise, your name will be displayed at in the main screen, and it will not be difficult for me to identify. And I'm not going to ask you repeatedly that mute your mic. I have to be harsh, otherwise many people are going to be affected. I cannot afford to do that. Okay, Karshanbhai Patel started selling low-cost detergent that was manufactured at his backyard, and he used to sell on his bicycle. So many of us might be thinking that if I have to start a business, I need a big idea, I need to start big, etc., etc. I need to approach to venture capital fund, get some $1 million, then only I can do a business. Read all these stories that will tell you that you really do not need a fortune to start a business. And if you start small, your risk is small and chances of failure are also small. And that is why many of the successful entrepreneurs started small, and they grew gradually, and they created moat around them. Moat means a boundary around them which cannot be crossed by competitors, and that is how they became successful. Karshanbhai is already a billionaire now. So let's move forward. Kalpana Saroj, he's from a Dalit family. She was married at 12, and then she faced mental trauma, mental abuse, physical abuse. She was ostracized. She was living alone in a village, at a corner of a village, because nobody wanted to talk to her. Then she migrated to Bombay again, back to her native place, and she started in a tailor shop, as a tailor, as an apprentice to a tailor shop. And eventually she became a tailor. And when she became a tailor, she started a tailoring business. And through her contact, this is the most important takeaway from her story. She used to maintain contact with people. She used to network. Whosoever would be coming to her shop, she would be talking to them, get to know, and remain connected. So whenever there is an opportunity, she would be talking to them, phoning them, or maybe visiting them, saying them how they are doing, what they are doing, how she can help her, etc. Eventually, she got to know somebody who is in a construction industry. So she kind of learned the construction industry details and then started a construction business. Being a woman, even today, you may think that it is so difficult a business, but she was successful in running her construction business. Eventually, she was so successful that she found herself in the board of a big company called Kamani Tubes. And then this company was not doing well. So at some point of time, the company went for liquidation. When she identified that as an opportunity, again, opportunity in adversity. Kamani Tubes thought market condition is not good, blah, blah. Many things are not good, so we should shut down our business. Whereas Saroj thought this is an opportunity because why she thought that? She identified the weaknesses of this company. By identifying the weaknesses, you know that if I can, fill this or close these holes, loopholes, then there is a possibility of success. And she very quickly turned the company from red to green. The company became profitable. And eventually she was so successful in that business and she created a name. She was awarded the Padma Shri for her business acumen and her capability to turn sick businesses into profitable businesses. Now she's in the board of the first Mahila bank. Being in the board of the bank is something. And her philosophy in life, or not in life, but in businesses is like this, that quality is our topmost priority. So we'll place 100% attention on quality. Then purity of the material that we sell. Kamini Tube sells copper tubes. So purity of the metal is our next focus. Then we would like to focus our attention on design so that customers are always enamored by our design. And if somebody comes to us once, she will come to us repeatedly. Having repeatable customer is the most important part, one of the most important component of successful business. If you have customers who are coming repeatedly, that is a validation that you have a wonderful business model, and customers are becoming satisfied with whatever you are selling, and they will normally not desert you, and your business will remain sustainable. So quality, purity, design, product diversity. Product diversity meaning whatever product people require, you try to meet them. But then if you are fully devoted to doing that, you will have some junk products, some products which are redundant. You manufacture for somebody, then you keep on manufacturing, nobody purchases. So you should always avoid that redundancy. That is why their product diversity focus is only 85%. Her advice, this is even more important. Hard work and only hard work can prevent you from failing. Apply yourself fully and work with single-minded vision. Success will be yours. So you should take this advice to heart and put hard work. I cannot overemphasize that. I do hard work from morning till evening. I cannot explain how many hours of hard work I put in the academic pursuit, whatever that is. Next story is about Nasty Gal. It's an American story. There is a lady by the name Sophia Amoruso. She had a very difficult childhood. She is from a broken family, and both parents said, we cannot take care of you. You should find something to do for you by yourselves. So it's a rags to riches story. Look at this painting. I got it done by some painter in Tal Bagicha. So she was doing something that is known as what is this? I forgot. Dumpster diving. It is known as dumpster diving in American language, meaning that there are dustbins around in the society. There will be at the end of the community, there will be a dustbin, and people throw their remaining foods or waste foods in that dustbin. And there are communities in America. There are a huge number of people in America who salvage food from dustbin, and then that is how they maintain their life. If you Google search with this word, this or phrase, maybe this construct, dumpster diving, you will find very nice looking people are actually trying to get food from dustbins. And this is a very commonly known fact, and that is why many people dump their food in the dustbin in a nicely packaged manner, knowing that somebody or the other may come and pick it up. So both way, that is, and she used to survive with that. And from there, she actually created a huge enterprise. That is the whole story. I'll not talk about too much about the background. Most importantly, look at this. Photography. She was a dropout from photography, meaning what I'm trying to drive home is that whatever you learn at some point of time, you'll find that that may come handy. Why this is getting I'm trying to put it at the top, but it's getting behind, whatever. Now, she had some knowledge about photography, and that came slightly handy when she was trying to do something. Means she was hitting upon some ideas. Now, just like many others, she used to do window shopping, meaning that she used to look through the window and see whatever is there inside. And there are chain of stores in US and many parts of Europe that is called Salvation Army. It is managed by some Christian missionaries, where old garments are sold. Why the name came is a different story. I'll not go into that, but you get nice dresses at a throwaway price. So she entered inside, she found a jacket and she liked it, and she bought that jacket with $18. Then she took it home, she wore it and stood before the mirror, and she was enamored that it was looking so nice and she was looking so smart. So she thought she can sell it. In that time, MySpace was as good as Facebook and whatnot, WhatsApp and all that. So she created an account for herself and posted this jacket for $1,000. And to her surprise, it was sold for $1,000. So she thought, voila, I got a business. A business is born actually. So she went back to Salvation Army store again. She identified nice jackets and other dresses. That is where her strength lied, meaning identified things which will be liked by people. Things that you like may not be liked by others. So she knew what will be liked by people of her generation. That was her strength, and she put that strength into creating a business. So that she repeated that, going to Salvation Army store and coming back. Eventually, very soon, she had about 60,000 registered visitors to her post. So that gave her the strength, and by that time she had some capital. So she started a company for vintage clothing, because these are old clothes. So she called it vintage clothes, whatever that is. Eventually she started a company, giving it a name, Nasty Gal. Whatever is the name, but it caught the fancy of people. And by 2016, she was named one of the richest self-made women. It's a very short time. I think I have the timeline here somewhere. No, you should read that. It's a very recent story, and within 2-3 years, she became one of the richest self-made women in the world. Her total turnover was $240 million, 1,800 crore, at the age of 29 in 2013. And yeah, timeline is right here. By 2010, she started the business, and she was entertaining venture capitalists and angel investors, but she never took money from them. She just turned them down because she wanted to bootstrap, meaning she wanted to do the business from her own not savings, but from her own cash flow. And that makes a huge advantage, benefit, because nobody will poke into your business. Nobody will come and tell you, don't do this, do that, etc., etc. So eventually, by 2016, she became one of the richest self-made women. But then she made mistakes. She made mistakes by thinking that starting a successful business and running a successful growing business is the same thing, which is not. Remember, starting a successful business and running or managing growth of a successful business are two different cup of tea. To grow a business, you need experience. You need an experienced CEO. That's what even Mark Zuckerberg did. He did not think that I can run my business the best, better than anybody else in the world. When Zuckerberg achieved some success, he immediately recruited top-notch CEOs, top-notch C-suite guys. C-suite guys means chief executive officer, chief finance officer, chief operational manager, etc., etc. These guys are called C-suite guys. So he recruited different guys so that every aspect of the business can be attended by professionals who have credential of running successful businesses. This point is very, very important. Never forget this point. In fact, I'll be talking about Anish Reddy very frequently. He's a graduate from IIT Kharagpur from mechanical engineering, graduated in 2005, worked for 2 years in ITC. After that, he came back to Kharagpur, IIT Kharagpur, asking for money. He said, give me some money, I want to start a business. We just started our incubation cell at that point of time. He was one of the early stage, maybe second or third company. His company was the second or third company for us to invest. I drafted all the document at that point of time. I was in SRIC. We gave him 10 lakh rupees at the beginning. He started Capillary Technologies. After about 6-7 months, he came back to IIT Kharagpur saying that I lost all the money. If you give me some more money, I can continue to run. Otherwise, I'll shut it down, and I can't return your money now. If you want me to return the money, I will take some time because I have to do a job and then pay you back because I don't have any money to start another company. Then we thought through that. We did not have a scheme to refund, meaning fund second time. But then considering that Anish has some credential of running things, like he started eSale at IIT Kharagpur, and eSale was by then doing quite good. And then he had other two partners. One is Modani, I forgot his first name, and Krishna Mehra, Ajay Modani and Krishna Mehra. All three are from IIT Kharagpur, and we thought these people may fail many times, but they will eventually become successful. So we gave them another 5 lakh rupees, 15 lakh rupees. When we gave them 10 lakh rupees, they gave us 3% of their equity, that was 500 shares, 500 shares. And then with the next round of 5 lakh rupees, they became successful. And then they migrated from Kolkata to Bangalore, and then from Bangalore to Singapore to whatnot. They are presently present in many, many countries, and their turnover is more than 1,000 crore. They have raised more than 1,000 crore of funding. We sold 400 shares. We sold back 400 shares of his company out of the 500 that we held for 7 crore rupees. I mean $1 million. That time it was 5 crore. And on top of that, he gave us another 14 crore rupees for starting the Artificial Intelligence Center at IIT Kharagpur. So altogether, he gave 14 crore rupees. A person who did not have 5 lakh rupees to run his business, continue running his business, donated 21 crore rupees to IIT Kharagpur, just like that. Only within a decade, maybe, or maybe less. So you can actually do anything with a small sum of money. And why Anish Reddy's story, why I mention Anish Reddy's story is like this. When Anish realized that we have achieved some success in creating a venture, and we are present in more than 10 countries, now we need professional CEO. So he recruited top-notch CEOs, and now he just almost like resting. Whenever there is a problem, he'll be talking to the CEO. The CEO will tell him, don't worry, we are there. And the business is running wonderfully well. In the last semester, he delivered a lecture. Previous to that also, he delivered a lecture. I am very hopeful that he will interact with you guys as well. There was another guy to interact. That was Pritam Prashun. He is also from IIT Kharagpur. Now he's in Austria, Vienna, managing his business. His business is based out of Delhi and Bombay, but he's managing it from Vienna. Then there was Lokesh, who also is a co-founder of eSale at IIT Kharagpur. He's a successful entrepreneur. He's based out of New York. He also deliberated with the previous batch. And there was some other people from outside. I will try to bring all of them to deliberate with you on very specific topics maybe. Let me plan and then I'll let you know. Now, Anish did the right thing by hiring professional CEOs, whereas Sophia Amoruso thought that I only understand my business, nobody else understand. And that is why I'll not give my business, the responsibility of running my business, to some third party who is not passionate about the core philosophy of my business. So she did not recruit, did not hire. Her standard strategy was like this, or values that she kept are like this, or maybe her strength. You can call these her strength. Her understanding of the customers, meaning the present generation, the fashion, the passion of the present generation was known to her because she belongs to that generation. Even though we belong to our generation, it is not always true or always right that we understand our generation, but she knew, and that is how she sold a jacket of $18 for $1,000. She had an eye for profit. If she would buy something for $100, she would sell it for 100 plus $1 or something, not $99, no discount. Her social skill was enormous. She used to keep connected with all her customers, huge amount of customers, and consistent philosophy about quality, about service, about right time delivery, about everything. Uncompromised and consistent ethics. She would never think that this dress is looking nice, so let me price it fantastically high to make undue profit. She would never do that. So this is most important, that she knew her customer. And okay, now suddenly things went haywire. She so long was avoiding taking money, but then she thought that now I have grown up such a big business. Now I must, take money from venture capitalists. So she took some money and she invested that money to acquire a fantastic office, a kind of a marketing center. So long she was not advertising. Now she started spending money on advertisement, etc., etc. And she thought, I am now so successful. So she started, focusing on media so that more people come to know about her. So eventually she diverted her attention so much that she could not give all the attention to her business. So eventually she fell down. And in the year 2016, so many things happened. Look at the data, you will realize. In the year 2016, she was named one of the richest self-made women in the world. And in the year 2016, she filed for bankruptcy, meaning she became bankrupt, meaning whatever money she borrowed or took from investor, she was not in a position to return. So she surrendered, something like that. And then she hardly had anything, but she fought back. She is still there in the horizon of business, and then she's still trying to do a lot of things in the business domain. This is her mission, vision, and values. 4 reasons why she failed. I already told you. One is, she thought success is something, a milestone. I have already achieved that. It is not a milestone. It's a continuous thing. You have to continuously move on and maintain your success stories continuously as long as you are there in the business. It's not something that you achieve and forget. You need a CEO, professional CEO that she did not hire. And then she started spending money here and there, etc., etc. This is her recent photograph, and she says, if you believe that what you are doing will have positive results, it definitely will, even if it's not immediately obvious. Almost in the same tone as John Maxwell said, that unless you fail, you are not actually doing anything. You're not moving at all. So even if you are failing, keep moving. Success will be yours. So there are some references, and we will start the next one. Give me just a moment. Okay, there's some problem. Whatever that is, we'll sort it out.
Sir, you are muted, sir. We can't listen you.
Sir, you are on mute.
Sir, you are muted.
I don't know. I have to identify if somebody is doing it. I have to take the log. I'll apply for the logs so that I understand who might be doing it. Then perhaps I can get rid of these guys if anybody is doing. Okay. Okay, so myths actually leads to fears in the minds of people, and then people don't try to dream big. If there would be, means if people know that these are merely myths and not realities, then people will not trust them, and then they will start dreaming big and they will do big things. So that is why I have kept a separate dedicated class on myths, but I have only half the time, so we'll do little faster and then finish this today. Otherwise, I don't want to keep any backlog chasing us every day. Now, these are some of the questions that you should read at the minimum to understand what questions are we going to address in the lecture. Some of these questions may be there in the test. There is a book by the name E-Myth. If you have some time, you can lay your hands on that and then try to read that. It's a wonderful book. I liked it so much. And written by E. Garver. And he made some new revelation about many of the myths about entrepreneurship. So one should actually read before he or she decide whether to start or not to start a business. He only brought this philosophy, the entrepreneurial personalities. Like the other day I mentioned that there are 3 traits of entrepreneur. One is One is ownership, another is what is that? I forgot the term. Insurgent mission. First is insurgent mission, second is ownership, and third is frontline obsession about the front line. So it was given by Michael E. Garber of E-Myth. I took it from him, took it from his book. So he also mentioned this thing about entrepreneurial personalities. There are three kinds of personalities in the world. One is entrepreneur, another is manager, another is technician. First time he only introduced, and wherever I talked about it, people were enamored by this philosophy. Entrepreneurs live in the future because they always try to preempt preempt meaning that if something is happening tomorrow, I kind of try to guess that it is going to happen. So I take some action and I remain ahead of the event that is going to manifest tomorrow. So entrepreneurs try to always preempt the competition, preempt the technology that is going to emerge moving forward, so that they can build that technology. They can focus their attention on that and build the technology before anybody else, and they reap the benefit because they will have almost monopolistic advantages for doing that. They live in the future. Managers, they can manage well. Entrepreneurs create some disruptive situation. They disrupt everything, even their own interior, meaning that whatever machineries they have, the new ideas are not good for those machineries. Whatever inventory management they put in are not good enough. Now managers will try to bring harmony in that disruptive atmosphere, and then everything will remain harmonized, and then everything will go so well. So you may be an entrepreneur, you need a manager, because you are going to disrupt everything, and that may create a disrupted situation, like some earthquake has happened. Now somebody should put all the bricks together to rebuild the building. So managers will keep doing that. That is why they live in the past, because they follow the entrepreneur. Entrepreneur in the future, manager follows them from behind. There are technocrats. They think that if anything has to be done, they can do that. They are capable of doing anything and everything. So they live in the present, because entrepreneur will come up with ideas, and they will throw these ideas to a bunch of people. You know, I'm thinking this. I don't know how to do it. Can you do it? They will say yes. Give us some time. They will not say yes. They will say, let us try. Give us some time. Then within very short time, they will come back saying that it is done. Now it will be taken over by managers to put it into business processes, and it will be done. So these are you should try to see which personality best suits you. I won't say that if you are a technocrat or a manager, you cannot be an entrepreneur. There are many people like Elon Musk who have all the traits, all the three traits. He's a technocrat, he's a manager, he's an entrepreneur. So everything means there is no mathematics that 1 + 1 is equal to this or something. Just excuse me for 5 seconds. Madam, আমি ক্লাসে আছি, পরে কথা বলছি। Hello. Okay, sorry about that. The real story is different. So you should not be bothered about the myths, but you should know what are the myths bogging you at the back of your mind. So maybe many of the myths are bogging you. That is why you are not thinking of starting a business. Once you know that these are myths, these are not realities, then perhaps you will change your attitude, your strategy, your future goal, vision, mission, everything. Almost 70% of all adult population in the world, the data actually are from 52 major economies. So if that data says something, you can generalize. They think that entrepreneurs are the most revered people in the society, but still they don't start. Many of them do not start. Most of the people think that successful entrepreneurs have some silver bullet, magic bullet, through which they actually achieve success, which is not true. If you look at the struggle that they do, like Anish Reddy, the struggle period is so great. You know, Anish got admission in MIT. Anish got admission in MIT. He did not join, he joined ITC. That's a different story. I want you to learn from him. I will not elaborate. Fact is that I'm very well connected with him from his BTech days. So at some point of time, I used to mentor him. When he was here, he started eSale. We used to discuss so much about eSale in those days. And then there were robotics society. They both actually came together, and I was an active part for strategy building for robotics as well as this one. That is how I know Anish and Anant so well. Anant was more interested in the robotics part. Anant also is now working with Anish. He is also a kind of a co-founder of Capillary Tech. He speaks less. That is why I normally don't invite him to deliver a lecture, but maybe this time I'll try. Most important thing is that unless you start something, you'll never know your capabilities. If you think that I cannot manage this, I cannot do that, these are myths. Once you start, only then you will realize that you can do much better things. You can do things better than many people. So what you need to do is to just start giving you the confidence. You should organize events, whether at IIT or at home. Suppose there is a birthday party at home. Suppose only 15 people will join. Take the reins from your family. Tell your dad or mom that let me manage the whole event. Give me a budget, or maybe you tell them that I am preparing a budget. Give me the money. I will show you how to manage. I'll manage it, and then I'll manage it within the budget. And then plan everything. Get experience where it goes wrong and how you should make amends. If you organize a single event, you will get enormous confidence, number one. Number two, you will get many clues as to why it went wrong, what you should do in the next round to make it a success. And next round, you will achieve absolute success. Chances are very high. And second round, you will be thinking as if you can write a book on how to manage events, and you will gain so much confidence that you will start believing that you can start a business. Why not? First myth is entrepreneurs are born and not made. And I have so many examples here that will tell you that entrepreneurs are not born. They are actually made. Peter Drucker said entrepreneurship can be learned, because there are so many myths. You just learn about the myths and you realize that entrepreneurs are not born. That itself is a learning. You learn finance, you learn marketing, you learn why entrepreneurs fail, and you become an entrepreneur in the process. Majority of the successful, in fact, the term entrepreneurs mostly refer to first generation entrepreneur. If you are from a business family, you have a traditional business. So you are not really in that sense entrepreneur. In the book, Good to Great, another wonderful book written by Jim Collins, he showed with data. He took 110 or maybe 101 successful businesses who achieved something like $1 billion valuation. And he showed that 10 out of 11 such companies are first generation entrepreneur, and they are introvert, not even extrovert. Dhiraj Dhirubhai Ambani, Hirachand Ambani. I will not talk more about it. Just know that he hails from a very poor family, and his family, even though he's from Gujarat, had no business tradition. Narayan Murthy borrowed only $250 from his wife to start Infosys. At that point of time, there were very few Indian entrepreneurs. So even there were very less people to emulate as role model. There were hardly any role model, but these people had the gumption to think that they can start and run a business. So they did not have the money. Know from here that with $250 you can start a business and create lakhs of crores of rupees valuation. Today the market value of Infosys is more than 3 lakh crore rupees from $250. So his personal net worth is billions of dollars. In fact, he's donating money in terms of billions. His employees, many of his early employees who received ESOP are billionaires. Sunil Bharti Mittal. He is from a political family, but then with only 20,000 rupees, he started a business. What was that business? Manufacturing component for bicycle. Many of us think that if I have to start a business, it has to be in blockchain or artificial intelligence or machine learning or whatnot in the tech domain. That is what is emerging. Otherwise, perhaps I won't be a successful businessman. Fact is that you should start small. You should not be nosy about business model. Even if it is manufacturing chappals, that can actually put the foundation stone, lay the foundation stone for maybe $1 trillion company. You never know. So start small. Mittal, from story of Mittal, we learn that you start small and you can create $11 of net worth moving forward. This data is slightly old. Savir Bhatia, he used to work in a company and something happened. They used to communicate through peer-to-peer network within the company. There was a server. Through the server, they used to communicate from client to client, and they created some kind of a messaging app that communicates through a server. Then one fine, when they used to go home, they used to keep that communication running through some telephone cable. So they thought it's good. They could communicate through friends and etc. etc. Suddenly their system administrator was annoyed. The system administrator was thinking that these people are accessing our computer from outside, so maybe they're doing some mischief. So he or she abstracted them from doing it. The administrator said, nothing doing. You cannot access my computer from outside. Go to hell. So they went to hell. What they did, they put a separate server and started communicating. Suddenly it dawned on them that why don't we offer this to other people as well to communicate? We have our own server. Now people can log into the server and post their message in the timeline of other people, and they will read it. They will reply, and there will be digital communication. That was the birth of email. There was no email facility before that. One Indian invented email service. They started something what is called Hotmail, and Microsoft almost immediately bought that for $400 million. Now Savir Bhatia has become multi-millionaire overnight because somebody abstracted him from communication using through office computer. Look at the disruption. And they identified an opportunity from this adverse situation, opportunities from adversities. And the society got electronic mail facility. Otherwise, perhaps it would have come maybe 10 years after this event. You never know. So that is how we get benefited through entrepreneurship. Gobindappa Venkataswamy, the founder of Aravind or Oro Lab, the wonderful story. He copied the model of this pizza making company. What was that? McDonald's. McDonald's has a unique pizza making system. It's a supply. Sorry. It's a what is that? Conveyor belt system. Meaning you put the pizza from one side of the oven, you get baked pizza from the other side. That is how McDonald's can serve one pizza every few seconds, maybe 5 seconds. So Gobindappa Venkataswamy was enamored by this model. He copied that model for eye operation, and eventually he could operate so many people for cataract. And then he eliminated or eradicated unnecessary blindness from many people. And he has another model. He subsidized the poor by charging to the rich. Rich people had to pay more money, and with that money he could serve the poor people. In fact, with the money he promoted research and development by which Oro Lab is now selling the low cost, high quality intraocular lens to 160 countries at a low price. Otherwise, you have to pay something like 15,000 rupees for a pair of lens, whereas they sell it for below 1,000 rupees. How the society gets benefited from this kind of entrepreneurs. Oprah Winfrey, wonderful story. She raised from from ashes like a phoenix. An incredibly successful woman. Her childhood was in abject poverty. Her mother stitched her dress, school dress, from potato sack. She did not have a normal dress. Can you imagine that some girl coming to a school with potato sacks as her dress? How people will be teasing her, where many rich people are there, and she was a black girl in a society of white people. In that atmosphere, in that adversity, she grew, and eventually she created personal worth of $3 billion. And talk to any lady in US, and they will say, she will say that I aspire to become Oprah Winfrey someday. That is the kind of personality she built herself into. Andrew Carnegie, a very poor childhood translated into entrepreneurs. You should read this in somewhere in Google. I cannot really elaborate all these stories because time is short, but he used to starve, literally starve during his childhood. And then eventually he created billions of dollars of wealth for himself. If you value his wealth in today's dollar, he will be the richest American, richest in the world, not just America. He will be the richest person in the world of today. And the background is that he started from such a poor family and poor situation. So it is only because he became an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur can create such a enormous amount, humongous amount of wealth, both for himself and for others. Another guy, John D. Rockefeller. He also was a son of a poor salesman, but then he demonstrated entrepreneurship from his very childhood. He used to sell candies in the train, and then he used to sell newspaper to local people, what not. He used to do many, many things during his childhood. But then he was from a very poor family, not starving, something like that, but then it was quite unlike a business family. And eventually he created the flagship company that he created was Standard Oil. And if that would be an independent company today, it would be valued more than $1 trillion. In fact, if you take the value of all the companies together, that will be much more than that. $1 trillion, and his personal net worth would be something like $400 billion. Both Andrew Carnegie and John D. Rockefeller donated major part of their wealth. In fact, Carnegie donated about all of his $4 billion for charity. That is how America now got so much of universities and whatnot. Steve Jobs. If we don't throw his name in the ring, we don't talk about entrepreneur. So Steve Jobs, again, from a broken family. He had nobody to support, and he had no money to maintain his academic fees. But he audited the course, and he used to manage with a free meal from local Hare Krishna temple. That is how he spent her days, meaning he acquired food. Another things that he used to do is he used to collect waste beverages can. You know, beverages cans are manufactured by aluminium. They are aluminium can. You throw it here and there. Now people are collecting and keeping it for whatever reason, but earlier they used to throw it here and there. He used to have a bag on the back and used to collect these cans, and he used to exchange that at some mall for some change that used to manage his, expenses, pocket expenses. That is his background. And today, Apple alone is valued $2.2 trillion, and he had many other companies. So that is the background from where these people started dreaming, and they created such an enterprise. So you obviously know that you don't really need to be hailing from business family, neither you need a lot of capital to start a business, etc., etc. Entrepreneurs are high risk lovers. Lovers is the word which is objectionable. They don't love risk. What they do is they're not risk averse either. meaning that they're not afraid of risk. What they are actually is they can assess the risk very well. Then they can make a decision whether this risk can be averted, whether we can come up with a solution to avert this risk, to get rid of those risks and create value. And what is the value of this risk? Meaning that if I take the risk and become successful, what is the value I gain? Know for a fact that unless something is risky, return will be very poor. So, of course, for every risky issues may not give success. If somebody jumps from 10th story building, the risk is very high that he may die. But then if he survives, there is nobody to reward him $1 billion. So there are risk contexts where return may be zero, but there are risk contexts where return may be very high, for which, because there are risks, many people are not venturing. So if somebody can realize how to overcome the risk, they will reap the eventual benefits. And if there is an opportunity in the horizon that comes without any risk, be very, very cautious, be apprehensive that there may be something hidden, meaning that there may not be any opportunity at the end. Maybe it's a trap. Like somebody tells you that you give me all your money and I'm going to give you a return of 90% a year, 50% a year. You don't have to do anything. You just sit back. You go to Florida beach and I'm going to send you money to your account and enjoy life. You don't have to do anything. This is too good to be true, meaning that this is so good that it can never be true. In fact, most people who invest money in this kind of fraudulent scheme, it's called scams. It's called Ponzi schemes. They all lose all their money because this opportunity is too good to be true, which means that if you are looking for a great opportunity, you should be ready to take up some risk, but then you should be smart enough to understand the spread and depth of this risk and whether you can really overcome them or not, what is the possibility and what is the reward at the end. Only then you should take the risk. You need a lot of money. I have already proven that you don't need a lot of money. Most of the people they started from poor family. Entrepreneurs are in there for money. This is also not true. Most people do not start business just to become rich. They start business with a vision that they want to solve a problem or they want to be independent or something like that. They identify some opportunity, maybe a technology or something. If anybody thinks that he or she wants to start a business to become rich, they will encounter frustration very soon because business requires lot of hard work. And if you are for money, the first failure will disappoint you so much that you will never be able to come back and fight back. That is why you don't start a business to become rich. Entrepreneurs are born in business families. None of these entrepreneurs were born in business families. One has to be young and restless. Never true. Many elder people are becoming entrepreneur and they are successfully running. Young people have talent and they are current with the emerging technologies, but old people have experience. So they also come up with some strength. Entrepreneurs give little attention to personal life. On the contrary, they can manage their business, their own boss. If the family needs them, they can always find time. Most people approach to venture capital. Oh no, most entrepreneurial venture fail. This is something that I'll discuss later. I'll just bypass this. It's not true, but I'll talk about it when I talk about why entrepreneurs fail in the next class. Entrepreneurs are often high risk, high tech wizard. Not necessarily true. If you are a high tech wizard, it's good, but you should have other business acumen as well. Entrepreneurs are loner. If you are a loner, you will never be successful. You need a network and other people should help you. Okay, I'm actually crossing the time. I'll not do just a minute. I'll take the attendance and we will call it quit. I'm not able to take attendance. I don't know why. Just a minute. Don't quit. It's not allowing me to take attendance. Quickly write your roll number first and name in the chat box. Very quickly, in a few seconds, write your roll number first, then name in the chat box.
Hello, sir. This is
Yes.
Pujita. I have not been added into the Teams yet. I have sent the request. Could you
Okay,
please
I'll do
check
that.
it once?
So you write your roll number and then name. Roll number and then name. First roll number, then name.
So can I mail you because I cannot access the chat box here?
Okay, mail me, right. You mail me, I'll put it there.
Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome.